Record. Hello, YouTube. So, here's the deal, right? This is where we're at. Time to start, getting some things a little further along. Time to paint some of the, I want to start painting some of the elements in a bit more finished state. So I have like the fur to do, the skulls, right? The hair, the axe, sort of everything that's not the skin. Even some of the skin has stuff left to do on it, like the feet and the hands aren't really done. But yeah, I think we need to start just like getting some further detail. So either I'm going to start on, I'll probably start on like the fur and kind of do the fur and the cloth at the same time to get to where we want to go. So for the fur, and I don't remember everything I used because I never do. So for the fur, I want a bit of blue ambience in the shadows. So I'm going to mix sort of a cold sort of color here, but I also want it to be slightly purplish in parts where it starts to warm up. So I'm going to grab some kind of like brownish, like pinkish brown tone. What are we going to use? What to use. I always like the old Kosarsky ground brown if I can find it. I think I used that at one point on this figure, but it has this sort of purplish undertone to it that's really nice. Here we go. Let's shake it up. Junior to the rescue, or JR. Hey man, I want to do private tutoring with you. Is it best to start something then book in or before putting paint on them all? Depends on what you're looking for. With tutoring, are you looking for like general direction, or are you looking to kind of like, you want specific feedback? I think at least having some work that you're working on, so I can kind of, have a general sense of where you're at and sort of where you're going and where you want to be going is good. And then if you want to discuss how to like move from there, then we can do that. All right, so some brown. And then I would like just a bit. I'm gonna put some of this rosy flesh on here just in case I want to warm this up, make it even slightly more pink, just a tiny bit. And then I will grab some very light color, something like white or blue with white. The fur is going to be the absolute lightest, so we're kind of going through like a cold, warm, cold kind of thing. Similar to what we did with the skin, where it goes on a slightly colder side. You can sort of pick up some of the purplish tones in the shadows of the skin, and then we go through a slightly warmer tone where it's like a little bit more yellow, and then up back to a light blue color, but the fur is going to be even lighter. So all right, so let's get some shape down here. So you should be able to get, like, this is going to turn very green, so I might need something with a little more reddishness to it if I want to get it into like a purple sort of color. I will grab just like I will pop just a tiny bit of magenta on the palette. I don't want to use a lot of this, but just to add some warmth. And now my lid won't close. This thing is jacked up. Oh, great. Okay. We'll figure that out in a bit. So by adding, see, like just adding the tiniest amount of magenta really like wants to overpower that. I just want it to be like slightly more like almost ultramarine-y kind of blue. And then if I add some of the brown, like now you can see it really starts to gray it out. So it doesn't take a lot of the magenta. Do I always mix? I mean, occasionally I'll put colors straight from, but we've already got colors on here, so there's a lot of mixing involved, and I'm searching. I'm often searching for like a very specific kind of tone. So like there is a difference between these two, right? This is like a little more brownish than this. This is more purple. But I will likely end up using both. Right, so in some of the shadows of the fur, I want to get kind of into like this more cold purpley color. Just for the deepest shadows here. I'm always searching for like an ambience, right? So yes, majority of the time I am mixing because I am always looking for a specific feeling to everything. And especially when you get into these like grayish tones of like what color is the fur, right? You have to ask yourself, okay, like this is it's gray, right? Can I just use gray if I want to give this like cold, snowy ambience to it, or do I have to like find a suitable color for the kind of mood that I'm going for? So I guess the general answer would be no, I almost never paint like directly out of the pot. Hello. Thank you. Then if I get a little lower here on some of these parts, I can put a little more blue into them as we get closer to the ground, where you're going to see more of the reflection of the snow How many hours invested in this piece by now? I don't know, between the two streams, like maybe 8 hours tops. Why? Why do you ask? That is my question. Is it important? Have I worked on the base? Not yet. Hello, welcome. So as I move into the light now, I'm going to start putting some more warm tones in. So just at this transition point here, is this for a box art? No, this is an old figure. This figure's like 3 years old or something. So I want some warm. Yeah, Ruben did the original box art, and it's one of my favorite paintings by Ruben, actually. I love Ruben's interpretation of this figure. Just to know about your artistic process, how much effort to build volume and contrast and such? Trying to understand that question. How much effort to build? Okay, you're saying how much time investment, like, to get to this point. I got it. I would say generally I'm typically pretty fast about like getting it to this stage of like you know, I think rendering all the volumes and everything is really important, so I try and get those sort of established very early. Values and shapes, colors can be pretty easy to adjust, but getting the shape and stuff in early will go a long way. Okay, now let's take some of this and a little more of the rose. Then we're going to start to cool it off again. You'll see it's almost like becoming this sort of skin tone-y color. It's very gray though. No, the warmer version of Reuben's is. I didn't choose a cold just because Reuben did warm. I chose cold just because she reminded me of a like northern, the like fur and stuff reminds me of kind of the northern Viking sort of feeling. Thanks, Jackson. Wouldn't say I have any reason to go like, no, because Reuben did it this way, I'm going to do it completely different. Like, that doesn't. Some models, they just, ask for a certain feeling to them, right? So I'm not going to let, just because one person did it one way, like, let that make a decision for me. Like, oh, I've got to do it different. Meh, whatever. All right, and then now as we get to the light, I'm going to start to cool it off again. This light blue does not affect the color tone very much. So I'll still have this little bit of warmth to it, and then just sort of at the very end it'll cool off again. You ever seen some of those models where you see the box art and you're just like, yeah, I couldn't have pictured it any other way, right? It kind of just happens. Sayonara Euphoria, hello. So here I'm trying to like get some of these as the light sort of goes around, right? It's getting more into shadow on this side, but this part of the fur sort of faces down. One interesting thing about fur though is it does let quite a bit of light pass through it. It's hair, so it doesn't have like super hard transitions like a like a volume that actually has like density to it, right? So you do get a little light that like passes through the fur, so you don't have to go like super hard on the shadows. But because the top fur does angle out a little bit more, I'm gonna make some of the fur slightly darker on the top section than on the bottom. Here as the fur gets close to whatever this thing is, we'll say we'll call it her shirt, but her chest fabric. Right, so I put the shadow there just to create a little shadow where it gets close to the shirt, but I do want to soften this slightly. And then as I move up in the light, it'll begin to disappear some. Yeah, probably just best to say it's their top, right? Yeah. Okay. So something like that, right? There's this sort of warmth just at the edge of the light. So a piece like this, right? Technically this part sort of faces away from the light, but because fur is not 100% dense, I can allow some of the light to basically pass through the volume to the other side. The new Clips album? Nah, not my thing. I'm familiar with them, but obviously, not my type of music per se. All right, so here we'll get a really nice light color. Hosen and Lusek is what I'm going to go with. Hello, welcome, thanks for following. Probably need to change this top part a little bit. So where it starts to get close to her skin. Make some adjustment here. Have we ever talked about music that much? I don't even know if you guys know what type of music I like. Yeah, I'm a big German polka fan. Hi, Nate. Time for polka. Like that. Boom, 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 boom. Now you guys have to guess. What kind of music do you think I listen to? I do like Rush. Polish folk music. Can't say I'm super familiar with Polish folk music. Honestly, I don't know. Hold on. Before I go saying that, let me think for a second. Can I name a single Polish band? Nope, don't think I can. Yeah, Gregorian chants. I actually just listened to Lou Reed's Metal Machine music on repeat nonstop. Like Helung? You like Helung? The Nordic folk? Do you like Aluvite? I'm familiar with the Nordic folk. How do you feel about lo-fi stuff? Not my thing. Not particularly. I do like lo-fi versions of like video game soundtracks though. Dude, I know about the Lizard Wizard. You start talking to me about some. You're gonna start talking to me about some prog, dude. I'll hit you with some prog. You know, we could start talking about porcupine tree and hit you with some of the classics, some Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I'm a 21st century schizoid man. Dobby Lowell. Hello, thanks for the prime 3 months. Appreciate it. What video games do you like? Top 5. Did he really just glaze the... No. Nope. Did not. Not a big glazer. I mean, I do it, but probably not the way you think. Baldur's Gate, and others. No. Actually, I only probably would put Baldur's Gate 1 in my top 5. Baldur's Gate 2 is good, but it's not as good as 1. All right, top 5 games ever made. Ready? Baldur's Gate 1, Super Metroid, Resident Evil 4, it gets harder from here. Final Fantasy Tactics. What else? I don't know. Number 5 spot. I do like Metroidvania-esque games, though. Could maybe say Symphony of the Night. A miserable little pile of secrets. That's what he is. That's what a man is. What is a man? Miserable little pile of secrets. But enough of this. Have at you. Hey, it's Poochie. Hello. Poochie? Hi. Hi, it's Poochie. Hello. Thanks for following. So, again, I'm just kind of going around trying to pick out some of these fur bits, you know, some of these strands, some of these clumps. I'm trying to keep them sort of clumped together, and I'm trying to follow the kind of shape and what's going to be hitting the light. So she has like a shadow that goes across her leg, but I do need some kind of transition because like we said, even though light will pass through some of the fur a little bit. I have checked. I have not seen anything, and I haven't heard anything. Ursolorish? Sorlo? I don't know. That name is impossible. Hello. Welcome. You're so... Nope. We give up. Nah, I don't smell anything. Yes, yeah, dude, they're spooked. You spooked them. Alright, I do need to outline her leg a little here. Get some, like, black. Hey, I appreciate my YouTube viewers also. Dude, the new Nosferatu was pretty good. And yeah, he does have a little bit of that feeling, doesn't he? I was a little impressed to learn that he did that voice. Is that Bill? Bill Skarsgård? I think is who, right? Because Stellan's their dad. Alexander is the older one, and Bill is the youngest. Well, Alexander's technically the middle son, because the other brother is like played Floki, and he was what was that movie he was in? He was in Oppenheimer. Hello, Christian. So I do think the outlining is pretty important here. We need to create some sort of separation between her skin and the fur. Forever jinxed. Hello. Gustav is his name. I'm sorry to Gustav that I didn't know. Gustav, if you're watching this, I apologize. You're a great actor also. What did Gustav... You mean their dad? Yeah, Stellan. Well, Stellan's in like freaking everything. He was in Andor. He's in Thor. He was in maybe one of the best miniseries I've ever seen, but also very difficult to watch. Chernobyl. That dude is in a lot. Who's the other main character? Oh, he's the guy from Mad Men. What is his name? Because the main two characters were basically Stellan Skarsgård and the guy from Mad Men, who was the like investigator scientist guy. Jared Harris. I've seen a lot with him in it. I mean, I know he's in stuff, but he's not like... super famous, you know? Yeah, he played Lane Price. Yeah. Yeah, that TV show or that miniseries is pretty hard, pretty tough watch there. Okay. I think we're starting to get a feel for the fur here, right? Feels like white fur, but not, you know, too similar in tone to the skulls and stuff. Yes, I was talking a little. Well, we were talking about Stellan Skarsgård actually. We were talking about Bill Scott. We were talking about the Skarsgård family because someone said he looked like. Someone says he looks like Nosferatu. I can kind of see it. Bye, Lucas. Hey, Lucas, real quick before you go, did you leave already? Are you going to World Model Expo? He may have gone already. All right. Disappointing. Who am I going to smoke with? It's not like there's any French people that smoke. Are they? I have no idea. Paris want more riots? I feel like that's how you get riots. Sue Narmi, hello. Thank you. I'm on the front page. Wow. Whoa, wow, we have 188 viewers. That's quite a bit for the regular stream. We're popping off. So I'm paying, for anyone who's not familiar, I'm from AU. I'm going to assume that's Australia. Good day. Don't you mean good day? Yeah, nah. Yeah, nah. Nah, yeah. Hi to all my Australian friends. No. Yeah, no. No, yeah. I have friends everywhere. That's the line from the TV show. He said the thing. Do you find this therapeutic? This is my job. I do really enjoy painting, though. I will be honest, I like painting. I like painting. Considering I took a pay cut to do it. Full time, baby. Oh yeah. Everyone knows that the professional miniature painters are just rolling in the dough. We make so much money, you guys wouldn't believe it. It's crazy. Just, yep, just hand over fist. I'm literally drowning in it. Won't someone save me from all the money? Please, someone save me from all the money. And if you caught that reference, then good on you. You can't, that's not fair, Force. You know, because I say that shit around the house all the time. Will I be a judge at World Model Expo? Yes. I am judging, as far as I'm aware. I will be judging Fantasy Masters Painters. Unless they toss a wrench at me like the last second and they're like, haha, just kidding. You're judging this other category. But as far as I know, that's the category I'm judging. Sorry, they're like, no, you're judging this other category. Piss off some French people today. None of them are watching, don't worry about it. So the viewers just dropped by 3. Yeah, no, they don't, Richard. They have more than enough historical judges. They don't need me as a historical judge. Thanks, Sue. What is this? Lincoln Park Bomb. Hello. And Mo's Magic. Thanks for the subscription. Mo's Magic. When did it pop up on Prime? I'm sorry if I missed it. Hello. Thanks for the Prime. And Lincoln Park Bomb. Thanks for the 5 months. Appreciate it. No, I didn't. That's not how that works. You had 3 weeks. You submitted something. What do you want from me? This week's Kill Team. A man needs his kill team. Uh-oh, the Final Fantasy pre-release. Did you pull so many sweet cards? Sell them now while the market's crazy for them, because I think I still follow a bit of like Magic the Gathering even though I don't play it anymore. So I'm familiar that the set, came out and sort of what's in it and whatnot. I can't imagine those cards stay at some of the prices they're at for a little while or for that long, because there is some absolute like insanity to some of the prices on some of those cards. What's that? Love. Hello. Thanks for following. Okay, first, kind of there. Obviously, not done on the back. I don't want to bore you guys with the back of the model. But I do paint the backs of my models. Alright? Paint the back of your model. Point at the screen. Paint the backs of your models. Am I going to try Expedition 33? No. No. Nah, I don't care. I am very picky on what I'm assuming that's that new like kind of JRPG video game made by, isn't it a French company? No, I'm not gonna. I'm very picky on what video games I make time to play. I heard it's quite good. I've got nothing to say about the game. I have nothing bad to say. I just don't particularly have time to play it. No, I'm not playing Night Rain either. I'm not playing anything right now except getting my World Model Expo piece done. Okay? I've got a piece for World Model Expo that I gotta finish painting. And that is that. Is it a surprise piece? Well, clearly, because I didn't tell you what it was. So I'm not going to tell you. It's so cool, though. It's like the coolest. Can you enter as a judge? You can enter categories that you are not judging, which is a whole discussion, and I understand both points. I understand sort of the point of view is like, you shouldn't enter a competition that you're a judge because, you know, it makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and my point of view is I think it's fine as long as you are who's on the jury should not like affect your opinion or your ability to judge categories without bias, right? Like, so if I can judge my friends' models without bias, I'm pretty sure I can judge people that I'm not particularly familiar with, even though they're you know, part of the same jury or whatnot. Does it have storytelling? Every figure should have storytelling. I'm actually not a big fan of the storytelling category in general, to be honest with you. I think storytelling is just a component of the overall piece. I think a lot of people, one of the reasons they don't like judges being able to enter is just because of the whether there's bias there or not. I think they just worry about the optics of it. Jack H. Patton. But I can tell you as a judge that it would not affect my decision making in any way. And then you can choose to believe if I have that integrity or not, I guess. I think contrast would also benefit if some of the judges could enter because, yeah, I think there's a lot of Polish painters that, like, I think it's a little disappointing that they don't enter, right? Because a lot of them are tasked with judging. Hello, Medico. Do you know the cat? Yeah, Fantasy Masters Painters, I think. Jack H. Patton. Thanks for the Prime. Appreciate it. With your Prime, you can join the Discord and get access to Feedback Friday, which happens every other Friday, where you can submit your models and get live feedback from me on what you can improve and what you've done well. Hey, you guys like that? You guys like that plug? And it only costs you your once per month free Prime subscription. Wow. On a scale of 1 to 10, give me, how good was that plug? Supernatural. It was totally, it was a 3.5 out of 10. Come on. Hey, I'll take a 7. See? Useless wizard. What a great deal. For the low price of a free Prime sub. Everybody gets one who has an Amazon Prime account. But no, there's really not more. You get a cool purple name in the Discord. That's about it. And you get a little star. Or is it the crown? I think it's the... What's the star? 4-month subscriber is a star. 4, 3. Is it just stars? I don't know. I need to do... They've been bothering me to update my little symbol. My sub symbol in chat. For this week's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, War Thunder. What other ones do you hear all the time? Squarespace. Make your own website with Squarespace. This is gonna doesn't matter because my YouTube channel is not monetized anyways. Factor. And when I'm painting for long hours, I don't have time to make a meal. That's why I use Factor. While I'm listening to those, I listen to my audiobook from Audible on my Raycon headphones. No, there's only time for painting. All right. Pretty satisfied with where this is headed, where this is going. How long have we been going? An hour and 9 minutes. All right. Man, we're over 300 viewers also. Crazy. Crazy. Let's see. We'll go a little longer. All right. What do we want to do? So I like making this, like, you can make this really nice, like, dark purple from magenta and blue. I'll mix a little black in it. This is good. I like this for, like, a black line on this. This nice deep purple, I think, works really well as, like, a black line color. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to put it? I just don't even think about it because, I mean, it's sitting right here. I just don't think about it because it's, like, right. It's not heavy enough right now. And it's wet on the outside, which is making it also more difficult to slide into it. There you go. Delicious. What's everybody working on, huh? What's everybody's big thing at the moment? You know? Got some cool stuff in the works, got some figures, got some big plans, some shows coming up. I know I got shows coming up. Did anyone go to Iron Skull, by the way? I don't feel like I heard much about it. Classes at Origins. Miss Aurora. Oh, redoing someone's bad sculpting work. That sounds fun. Is it Dave? I'm just kidding. I'm joking, please. He's improving. He's improving. He's getting better. The latest one he's working on is pretty nice. Bup, 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 bup. All right, let's see. Get some blue on here. A little more intense blue. Start picking out some of these shapes some more. Good evening. Dug out some boxes of old Kador models and started working on them. No one was more surprised than me. Jeez. How old? Metal old? Or like... Oh, metal. Jeez. That is old. I have a 75mm piece I may start working on. Debating going to notes. Don't debate on going to Nova. Just go, dude. It's a good show. If you like Adapticon, you'll like Nova. I'm excited. Hopefully I don't have to cancel. It would be big sad. For who? For you? I don't know how everyone else would feel about it, Richard, if you had to cancel. I really want to get down to Nova, but it's tough since I have a bunch of cons I can just drive. Oh, drive 2. Yeah. You must be in the Midwest because I feel like that's... Everyone in the Midwest is just spoiled for like how easy it is to get to stuff. Like, oh, geez, I gotta drive 3 hours to the show. Billy Bob Gump followed. Hello. I missed... Dude, the Midwest is not a flyover. Midwest are not flyover states, okay? Those aren't flyover states. Illinois and Indiana are not flyover states. Flyover states are like Nebraska, Iowa. Like, when's the last time you met anyone from Iowa? Buenas noches. Buenas noches. ¿Todo bien? ¿Y tú? Solo estoy pensando una chica. You're from Iowa? I don't believe you. I'm gonna need to see your driver's license. Kansas is a flyover state. Ohio is not a flyover state. Dude, there's like 4 major cities in Ohio. Okay, maybe not 4. 3? At least Columbus and Cincinnati. Yeah, Dakota's, that's a flyover state. Flyover states are where, like, no one lives. Yeah, Ohio. Ohio has 2 NFL teams, and they don't really care about either of them. They prefer their college football team more. Dude, Ohio has more senators than they do House, or Wyoming has more senators than they do members of the House of Representatives. So, just to put in perspective how few people live in Wyoming, okay? No one lives there. All right. I think take a quick minute break. Quick break. And I will be back in a few, and we will continue painting this fine lady. And she seems like a really nice lady, right? All right, be right back. Hi, I'm back. Hello. We still talking about Wyoming? It's the most Wyoming's been talked about in all year. Yep, dude, Montana? Shh, don't talk about Montana. Montana doesn't like being talked about. Because Montana knows it's actually really nice, and they're like, don't come here. People from Montana are like, nah, dude. Dude, don't, no, Montana sucks. No one likes it here. You wouldn't like it in Montana. We got bears and stuff. Like, you don't wanna come hang out here. Fishing? Nah. Nah, there's no good fishing in Montana. I think Montana has, you know how like most states have a tourism board, the tourism board. They're like, Montana has the anti-tourism board. They're like, how do we convince people not to visit? Don't talk about fly fishing in Montana, dude. Gotta keep it low key. Hey, Eric, I just bought your art book. It should arrive this weekend. Looking forward to it. Thanks. I hope you enjoy. It's more than just pretty pictures, okay? Good morning, JC. Guys, Australian people, what's the equivalent of Montana in Australia? Obviously, like, the big population centers in Australia are like Sydney and Melbourne, right? What's the equivalent of, like, because I'm sure there's some parts to Australia that are like really pretty that just no one lives there. Adelaide? I've heard of Adelaide. But a lot of the outback is like would be more like Wyoming, I think. Kind of flat. I guess Wyoming has, some mountains. Australia, the flyover continent. Make make believe land. It's all part of your imagination. We don't really exist. Yeah, where the heck would you be going to fly over Australia? New Zealand? Gotta go visit some hobbit holes? Gotta go to Hobbiton? I love the clip of like, I don't remember who it was, but it was like the talking about changing the flag, and they had the wrong flag behind them because apparently people from New Zealand and Australia can't recognize which one is their flag and which one is New Zealand's flag. I couldn't tell you which one's which, but it's not my flag. All right, so adding a little highlight here. So this is for this cloth. Just want to get some highlights on some of these sections. Make it kind of match up here. I want to maintain this as like a pretty dark blue because I want it to be like nice and contrasty with all the lighter color of her skin. So might need to tone down some of this section. But we do need to create some highlights to create a little bit of definition on some of these parts, like these smaller folds on the waistband, like waist section. I thought I turned off Discord. It's beeping at me. I don't like it. There we go. Oh, go back to this. All right, and let's see. Do I need to zoom in a little? How's this? So yeah, we just want to create some little highlight here. You know, define the edge a little bit, create just a touch of light for some of these sections. Question, if I want to desaturate a color but not necessarily brighten it or darken it, how do I do that? There's a couple ways you can mix a similar value of the complementary color. We'll turn it more gray, or you just mix it with gray. But there's no like perfect way to, you would have to have a tone that is the exact same value and the exact opposite color to do that. So no matter what, you're probably going to have to add some white or black to it in order to maintain the value. So there isn't like a perfectly easy solution. You have to gray it out and then get it back to the value that you're looking for. Yeah, so if I wanted to grade like this is, let's say I made a light blue, right? This is a very intense blue. If I look at these two next to each other, they're close, but this is more white. This is brown, so this should gray it out pretty good. But it does start to turn it like a little green because maybe the amount of yellow in it, or orange, right? So it is messing with the color a little bit. I would have to maybe add a little reddish tone to get back to more gray, but now it's darkened it. So now I have to add more white in order to get it back to the same value. Ta-da, right? Where if I just added white to this, like kind of corner here, you can see how gray, like greenish this kind of turned. Or maybe you can't see exactly, but I can clearly see that this here is more green than that. And to compare like this to this, right? This is like very intense blue. So these two are about the same value right now, but this one has way higher saturation. So adding this guy, right, it's going to shift it a little green, and then I take just a touch of the magenta. Right, that gets these two into the same hue, so they're the same hue right now. But now I have to come back and add white again to get it back up to the same value of the other one. And ta-da! Same color. Dave wanted me to do this the other day in person. Like, okay, can I mix? Let's take a color, okay? Here, this thing. Succubus skin. Do you think I can mix this color with what I have on my palette right now? All right, let's put this on the palette. Let's see if I can make this. Okay, and how long? This is without, you know, probably not, but I bet I can get it close because I don't think I have quite enough yellow. But I think if I take this guy, right, we're going to take some magenta and we'll take some of the skin tone. But you can see this is like way off, right? One, it's way too saturated. So let's add some black. Yeah, I figured what would happen is I don't have quite enough yellow. Yep. So I need something like slightly more warm orangish yellow. Slightly more pink. Bam. Same color. So I just look at, like, I know there's a lot of, you know, if we want to do that through the thought process again, right? Magenta, right? I can see that magenta is like red, this sort of reddish color is the dominant color in here. I know there's, but it's too pink, so I know there's yellow, right? Mix those two together, I get closer to this like reddish orange tone. Okay, but that's too saturated. When I add white, it's too dark for one. When I add white, right, that's going to make it close in color, but in value it's in saturation or chroma it's too high. So I can add some black to desaturate, but that's going to darken it, and then I have to add some more white back to it in order to get it to be the same. And there's the whole thought process. Yeah, she's got some big feet. How does he do it? Oh, that's how. Right? Don't overthink it. It's not that difficult. Maybe it is. I don't know. Just comes from experience, being able to color match like that. It's my superpower. I'm like that Chinese guy on TikTok that matches color swatches for like painting cars or whatever. I don't know if he's Chinese or Southeast Asian, let's say. General question, should shadow colors generally be less saturated? No. Often shadow colors tend to be some of the most saturated tones. Chromatic blacks. Okay, that's why when I did the dark lining, I added some color to the black. Yeah, chromatic blacks, good. What you often see when you see more desaturated shadows is sort of the bounce light that creates this a bit of desaturation in the shadows, and we often can't like visually pick up the extreme chroma, right, of like really black shadows. It's a harder thing to like notice. But like, what would you say is more saturated? This here? Is this more saturated or is this more saturated? And actually, this is more blue. Like this is more and more in high chroma blue than this is up here, because the white is going to pull out chroma. But because it's so close to black, that's hard to see, because that was essentially just like purple and blue mixed together, right? Or magenta. It's like a magenta blue. So yeah, that's you actually want saturation in your shadows. They're just a bit harder to spot. Any other questions? You guys got color questions? I got color answers. Hey Rick, I'm practicing my NMM since the last Feedback Friday, and I was wondering what color would show more on steel armor, the sky or the color of the sun, or both equal? Well, think about the size of the sun in the general overall size of the sky, right? How much percentage of the sun takes up the sky? So that is true. It is tiny. Well, I will tell you, Richard, there's a little thing that the moon and the sun are almost the exact same size in the sky, since, you know, our eclipses work like that. So the moon takes up the same percentage of the sky as the sun does. And you've looked at the moon before, and it's pretty small. In fact, if you hold your hand out at arm's length, the sun is about like the size of, or the sun is about the size of your, like the tip of your thumb. So it's pretty small. But it is true that the intensity of the sun causes it to bloom, essentially, right? It's so powerfully bright that it will like expand outwards in a reflection. It's like looking at a street lamp at night, right? The street lamp is so much brighter than everything else that it has this sort of blooming halo effect around it. And the same happens in reflections on metallics, that the sun will be, the influence of the sun on a reflection will be larger than just like a perfect, dot, like circle, right? Then most downward facing surfaces would be ground, grayish brown. Yeah. And I've transitioned to grayish blue and finish with a bit of yellow. I would have a reference of there's no rules here, right? Depending on the type of day it is, also will change what your sky reflection is going to look like. Like some days are more overcast, so you're not going to have like a bright blue sky, right? So you'll have a more grayish sky. Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into it beyond just like, and what color is your ground? Is it gray, brown? Like, are they just standing in dirt? Are they in like a field of grass or wheat or something? There's a lot to take into account. So this is why I don't give recipes ever for things like, what color should I paint steel? Well, it's super dependent on what the environment you're going for is. Here I'm doing like what you could call like edge highlights, but what I'm trying to do is like place some sort of dots on the edge. Right, so it's not like a perfect, I'm not painting like the whole edge, I'm kind of giving it a slightly, trying to emphasize the like slightly tattered edge, which often when fabric sort of tatters, you get a lighter edge on the fabric. The best answer I can give you, Steve, is look at reference. Speaking of painting non-metallic, maybe we should work on the axe a little bit. Need a bigger brush. Gonna need a bigger brush. All right, so I basically have some of the colors I already want here for the metallic. I'm gonna want like these deep kind of blue grays, because we're gonna go with a like we're going for a very snowy environment. Okay. So on the axe, we've got two surfaces. We've got, let me move it down so you can see. We've got two surfaces. We've got the, like on the shaft, right? We have the flat, and then we have the bevel. On metallics, typically the bevel is newer metal. It's a little shinier. If we're going for like an iron, I mean, it's steel, but it's like going to be a little darker because it's unlikely that they polish the flat. More likely that you polish the bevel and the edge. So first thing I'm going to do is just establish the bevel. Same over here, we've got the bevel of this thing. Something like that. That's actually wood. Yeah, but even still, it's like, even without that, an axe is very likely that like they wouldn't even grind this part, right? They would just like hammer this part into shape. So this would be like really rough, and then they would just grind the bevel of the axe. So you're just naturally going to have a much like smoother metallic than you would on the actual flat. It's not like a sword, right? A sword, they're like really concerned about the geometry and shape of the whole axe or the whole blade, right? The blade is literally all of it. Where on an axe, really here once they've got the rough geometry in, right? They don't care whether the like axe, the actual like what do you call this? The face? Right? So this part doesn't really matter that much. So what is this going to reflect? Right? This won't be very reflective. This is going to be like quite dark, like a really rough iron, right? Or rough steel. I don't know if I even have anything that's like that beat up of steel. Yeah, I can't really think of anything that I have that is like forged steel. But yeah, you can look at examples of forged steel, and it's not super nice, you know? So we need to get the bevel at least, like or the edge here. But I'm not going to go up to white. I'm not like trying to make this super shiny. Okay, I'm just want to like establish the shape. And then I can come in and take some of the black. I probably need more black, but just get like a nice dark gray. And I can start to create like some texturing here. Eye itches. So basically what I'm trying to make is some of the like hammer marks. You can go a little bigger with some, try and like vary up the size. Okay, something like that. That's, you know, a bit huge and kind of a mess. I'm going to go ahead and push it just a little bit further. Yeah. I'll add just a little bit more towards the bottom here. Let's assume maybe there's like, when he made this, as he's like hammering it, right? When you're hammering steel, what do? You're trying to like flatten it out, but when you hit the middle, where does that metal go, right? It pushes to the edge. So often with like a forged shape, you'll get like a little bit of dishing or something in the middle of it. Yeah, it has to go outwards, right? So they're trying to like stretch the metal out. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll take this like dark blue purple kind of mix that I had before. And I'm just gonna glaze back over top of this and kind of unify it, right? I want something subtle here. I don't want something like, it's just a little bit. It's a little bit to give it some interest. Right? You can even see from the water that that's like, right from the highlights, that's kind of the shape that they put on it. There's like little divots and stuff. And I can enhance a few of those. Right, so maybe I pick out a couple of these little divots, just catch the light just a little bit more. Maybe there's a scratch from where she's been swinging it around. Sorry. Right, so I just beat up the edge a little bit. Metal. Now I create the bevel. So, what is going to be all over the place? Yeah? Oh, we haven't talked about? We know there's snow, right? I told you I'm going to do snow. So there's going to be quite a bit of white on the ground. So even though the axe bevel faces down, a lot of this is going to be snowy. Now trying to introduce some interesting shapes into the bevel. So it's not just like lines, right? Echidna, hello. Grapes Gatsby, did I miss you? Sorry if I did. Yeah, snow blindness is a thing. So the sun really reflects off of that, off the snow. We're not going for like a super sunny day here, right? Like the cast shadows and stuff are not like ridiculously intense. But the snow is still going to be like quite white. So I want to get something bluish for the snow because the light's going to reflect off the snow, but then it's metal, so it's going to gray out a little bit. She looks a little like Emma Stone. Maybe. Right, so right now, if you look at this, you would look at it and say, like, what is this a reflection of? It kind of just looks like water, right? How's the World Model Expo piece going? It is going pretty well, actually. I've done quite a bit of work to it. I've got still a ways to go. Look, I'll give you guys a preview. You want to see a preview? This is your preview. All right, that's the spoiler. There you go. It is sculpted by Victor Aguilar. Victor. Does co-pieces count as wait, what? Hold on. Do co-pieces count as fantasy open, or is it going to historical painter? I'm not telling you guys. So you're not getting any more information. I just showed you that was your spoiler. Oh, thanks, man. We're going to need a pedicure before that. My feet are smaller than Trent's. I'd hope so. He's like 4 inches taller than me. You guys want to guess my shoe size? We doing that now? You guys are pretty close. US 11? Man, you think my feet... No. I wear size 12. My foot is a foot. Here we can find out. Let's see how big my hands are. So wrist there. Yeah. Wrist at the 0. 8 inches. Or 20 centimeters. Oh, stretch. I am 6'4", yeah. Or 193 centimeters. I know some guys who have some JC, my buddy Mike, he's the same height as me, but he's built like you, where he's just like, dude has freaking baseball mitts for hands. And I think he wears like size 15 shoes. No. He's just built different, man. He's just, you know, you meet some of those guys that are just like, you're like, oh, I'm not short, but like he makes me feel small, like standing near him, even though we're the same height, just because he's just one of those guys, just a big dude. So yeah, there's sort of the bevel in action. So you get some of that like snow reflection from the ground. Maybe a little bit of her back will reflect here. We can take some of the skin tone actually and make like, if I wanted, I could maybe put just like a touch of, just glaze, just a touch of skin tone back here. You're not even going to be able to see that, but it's there. He's a carpenter. He's got some pretty serious grip strength. Guy has swung a hammer around for over half his life. Nerd 3D printing. Hello, welcome. Did you know if you're 6'4", you're roughly 1 in 1,000? And if you're 6'5", it goes up by like, it's like 10% of that every single time. So 6'5" is like 1 in 10,000. 6'6" is like 1 in 100,000. Yeah, Dave and I talked about this the other day. And guys that are like 7 foot tall are literally like 1 in a billion. It's probably not quite that much. It's probably like 1 in 100 million or something. But yeah, it's pretty slim amount of people hit that 7 foot mark. It probably levels off slightly once you get, but that is like roughly how many people there are. I don't have to round on my height because, well, what's also funny is, you know, that because in the US, 6 foot is considered tall, right? Well, in Europe, where they use the metric system, 180 is apparently considered tall. And I believe 6 foot is taller than 180 by like an inch or something. So really in Europe, 5'11" is tall. Yeah, it's really unusual. I've met one person in my life who was, actually, I don't know if I've ever met anyone who's actually 7 feet. I've met some people who are like 6'10". My cousin was 6'8", or is 6'8", I should say. Not was. Well, he's getting older. Maybe he's shrunk a little bit. I met Kevin Nash, who claims to be 7 feet. Hello, D4? Kevin Nash, if you guys don't know, he played the Russian in the Thomas Jane Punisher. He was wrestler, like professional wrestler. He was in that movie John Wick as like the bodyguard that John Wick's like working tonight, and then he's like, well, you can leave. Yeah. I met him. I don't think he's actually 7 feet tall, though. I think he claims to be 7 feet tall for you know, to be really tall on television, but I don't think he's actually 7 feet. He was very tall, though. Probably something closer to like 6'9". I did meet a guy one time that was built like Andre the Giant, where he had, not my friend Mike, even bigger than that guy. He wore size 18 shoes or something like that. And, like biggest pair of boots I've ever seen in my life. And like, he was one of those guys that's like, when he holds a soda can, it's just like his whole hand would just envelop the soda can. It's like me holding one of these paint bottles. It's just like, yeah. Oh yeah, the guy from John Wick 2. Yeah, he's huge. Big dude. So this is kind of the plan for the metallic, right? Like it works with the blue, right? We didn't overdo the top part, right? I didn't need to make some super fancy gradient in this upper section. Just like hit some shine here and there where the edge catches a little light. Just create a couple little spots. Hit those, come on, stay in focus. Hit those rivets. Maybe catch the edge right here. Metallic. Yeah, makes sense. Not so difficult. on one non-metallic metal axe. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, geez, Eric, it's so easy. I can't wait to go out and paint a sweet axe now. Hey, well, now you know what you're doing too. Just, you know, follow the steps. It's all logical. Yeah, exactly. Just paint it how it would look. It's easy. Good night. All right, what's gonna be next? I mean, I've got all kinds of little details. Some of this stuff, like these little rings and things, I don't think are gonna be super interesting. What do you mean not using any gray? Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Hmm? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not using any gray? Visit the Chronicler with the raid of 9. Hello, welcome. Yeah. Huh? What is that? Huh? It's all blues. What color is that? What color is this? It's gray. It's blue-gray. Yeah. It is somber gray. Wow. Gris sombra. That's in there. And then there's blue and other things. Hi, Raiders. Hello, welcome. We've been working on this figure for the last couple of weeks, actually. 3 sessions so far. If you're just joining us, this is the Northwind. I'm Eric. I paint miniatures. Hello. Buen español. Gracias, amigo. Solo puedo hablar en un acento como un actor en una telenovela. Hola. Stony Chef, hello. Maria, Te quiero mucho. Oh my God. Anyways, we're working on this now that I did all that, and that was, you know, interesting, I guess. That's cloth and fur and the axe. Still got to do all the leather and the wood and the skulls and the little rings and these little straps and all the little details. And there's so many little details. And the backdrop and the base and the... Whew. So much. Fur on hand? Fur on hand from this angle looks quite finished. This one? Yeah, the fur's done. Done-ish. I could... There's some cleanup and stuff to do and some work in the shadows and things like that, but yeah. Do we know when is the next Feedback Friday? Not this Friday, the Friday after that. No, there's like little touches to do here and there on the fur and clean up where I accidentally touched it with blue from painting the... What's it called, but... How we doing on time? This model for fun. This model is for fun. It's just because I wanted to. I've always wanted to paint this model. I like it. It's a cool model. Sometimes I paint stuff just because I feel like it. Will you keep or trade or sell off? Yes. I'll probably sell it. It's very likely that I will sell it. I don't have too much... yes, it's from Big Sean. I don't have too much attachment to models. The painting part is the fun part. There is a few models that I've kept throughout the years. But in general, no, I don't have like any like attachment to my figures that I'm like, I can't sell this. It's how I eat, boys. It's how I eat. I gotta eat. So I gotta sell figures. Do I have 25 or more? That depends on what you consider. I mean, I've got I have a lot of gaming figures that like I've painted that are mine. But display figures, what you see behind you, and not even all of those are mine. Like some of them, I've got one from Christoph and Tamer and Alfonso and Thibaut in there. One from Dave. And another one from Alfonso. So, like, I don't even keep all my, like, bunch of the figures in my little cabinet are not even mine. And there's another cabinet over there that are all ones that are sold and need to be delivered. Yeah, so the number of models that are mine that I've actually kept is not too high. I think maybe like, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I own 19 of my own display models, and most of them are from very early on. Ones that I would not be like, oh, you want to buy this? Because I just wouldn't even feel great about selling it. Do you have your first model ever? No. First miniature or first model? Because I think the answer either way is no. And my first miniature ever was some like Plague Marine. I've got some of my early miniatures though. Hey, yeah, Pretzel Thin and Red Bull, dude. Man, I don't know if you guys, hey, sponsor me, Snack Factory. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the brand Snack Factory. They make these like pretzel chips. Did I talk about this last week? I don't think so. At Buc-ee's, they had, so they're these like pretzel chips. I can buy them in like 7-Eleven or the grocery store. They have like Parmesan ones and normal ones, but they're little thin pretzel chip things. Buc-ee's in Texas had dark chocolate covered ones. Yeah, the super flat pretzels. They're delicious. But yeah, Buc-ee's had chocolate covered ones, and the dark chocolate covered ones were banger. Oh my god. And now I'm kind of annoyed that like nowhere around here sells them. It's probably for the best though. Dude, I love some pretzels. If there is a soft pretzel on the menu, I will be ordering it. Like a pub pretzel? Whew. Oh boy. All right, I'm going to take another quick break, and then we'll maybe work on the skulls a little bit. Or I could start working on the axe handle. I don't know if I want to paint this part on camera. There's so many tiny little lines, like... But yeah, I kind of need to do the skulls and the leather now. I don't really want to paint his face right now because I got to paint his body also as part of the base, so I'd probably do that at the same time. So, all right. Do you plan to paint Raja, the limited edition from... That's the one with the tiger, right? No. I prefer that one with the tiger. Oh, you guys can't see that. It's too high up. If I was going to paint a World Model Expo Chimera model with a tiger, I would paint Sahalar. Sahalar. Maybe one day I'll get around to painting this. Where can I get a pair of them magnifying glasses? You can get them from Amazon. Just search magnifiers and look for ones that have the black, and they come like the black headband thing, and come with like a little box of lenses. It comes with a little flashlight thing that you can put on the here. I took it off just to get rid of more weight, and I don't need the flashlight, so. All right. I will be right. Gumby Cornetto, hello. Thanks for following. I will be right back. I'm back. Hello. Sorry for the delay. Enjoy my beverage. All right, what are we thinking? Huh? Some more details, some skulls. Where my skulls at? Where my skull? I want my skull. Well, slightly lightheaded there for a second. Hold on. Okay. So I want a little bit of blue. I want the brown. This time I'm okay with it turning slightly greenish. Okay. Because I want a different feeling to the skulls than the fur. Abyss GF Graphics. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Ah, Pop Boy, that's a good. Hey, cuz. Hey, cuz. So we get a slightly more warmish tone just before the lights. Not too much though. So here, yeah, I'm trying to get the roundedness of this cranium. Start to blend that out. Anybody play Night Rain, actually? Got any Night Rain players? I haven't touched it. Didn't seem to be up my alley. I'm more of a single player experience kind of Elden Ring guy. Yeah, Night Ranger. Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about Elden Ring. Oh, Elden Ring. So here, just like on the axe face, I'm not trying to make this like super smooth. I am doing like some little stippling. You could call this stipple blending if you want. I really don't care what you call the technique. It's stippling. So I'm trying to make that slightly porous texture to the bone. But I will blend that back together. I'm very picky with my video games, and what I take time to play. I am kind of interested in Horde mode in Space Marine 2 though, because I love some Gears of War Horde mode. Emoji like that. Original gamer. Hanging out doing some Xbox 360 LAN party Horde mode action, dude. That's good. That's good times. Oh yeah, man, some gears on it, the old original gears. Heck yeah. Not like online competitive. Dude, I've played some Dynasty Warriors. I'm not a huge Dynasty Warriors fan, but I played some Dynasty Warriors Gundam with my roommate, like just beating the crap out of people. Some dumb fun. I've played some of the One Piece one also. I got specific characters I want to play though. When I play those games, I'm like, nah, I don't want to play anybody but this guy. Nah. No, I never actually played the original. I've only played like the weird offshoot ones. Like I played the Fist of the North Star one, but I've never played the like original Dynasty Warriors games. Only the spin-offs. The Fist of the North Star one was pretty funny, actually. You're just like exploding people everywhere. What? Any Berserk fans in the chat? So Kentaro Miura, who wrote and drew, the creator of Berserk, did a manga before Berserk that was like basically a Fist of the North Star knockoff. It was very weird. So there you go. So here on the skull, right? If we imagine the volumetrics of it, you have to imagine like painting it without that leather strap there. So really the brightest point of the skull might be like where that leather strap is. Never gotten into JoJo's. I am familiar with some of the memes the JoJo memes, but I am not never watched the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or read it. Most of my Joseph Joestar or Jonathan Joestar, I think there's a bunch of JoJos as far as I'm aware. Like their whole family is JoJos. Anyway, never been a most of my anime knowledge lives in the 90s, so don't ask me about any of that new stuff. So here on the side of the skull, I'm going to mix just a little more blue because we're going to pick up some of the color of the fabric here. Because it is a white object. So it's a small touch, but just lifting a little bit of that blue into the color. And you can see here, instead I did a slightly more warm color, right? So I'm taking this guy and mixing it. So this is like the light that bounces off the skull and sort of bounces back. So you get like a little more warm tone. Like here, right? I'm going to add just a touch more of this brownish color. The light reflects off the other skull. It's still very gray, but you know. A little bit of warmth to it, right? Just a touch. Which paint color tastes best? Yeah. Never gotten that question before. I don't know. I can tell you which one tastes the worst though. Lead white is delicious. Really just mwah. Yeah, both. All right, trying to get their teeth blacked out. I have totally just like goofed that skull. Missed entire parts of just base coating that guy. Is there? Is there really lead paint still around? I tried mercury paint once, but it would never dry. I mean, it looked really shiny, but also that one tasted kind of funny. Not in use, but still on. Oh, okay. Like asbestos. Like you could still, even though it's, you still find it around. Mesothelioma. What about got this really nice green paint. It's like this nice blue green paint. Kind of glows. That one tastes good too. No, it's rad, dude. It's not radioactive. It's a very rad paint. Oh yeah, those old the like orange ones, right? I think my mom had some of those. I don't know if they were the actual radioactive ones. I know there was glasses that were like, I think like legitimately dangerous. I don't think the like painted plates were that bad. If they're the ones I'm thinking of. It's getting hot in here. It is miserably humid outside right now. Like absurdly. I don't like it. Nice, 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 yeah. Gotta speed run it, you know? There's still a bit of messy areas like around here that need cleaning up. I gotta do all the detail on the skulls still. For acrylic, I bought a Teflon cup. Was Teflon the one that was like, what was the one that they were like, don't scratch your pots and pans because it'll poison you or something? It was like chipping off, and was that Teflon? It's supposed to be like a non-stick, but it would like people were scratching it with spatulas, and it was poisonous or something. PFAS. Poofs. I don't remember. I remember that like being a thing. Like, oh my God, careful with your nonstick pans. It's all right, now it's all microplastics. We're all gonna forget asbestos and Teflon or whatever the heck it was. Now we're all slowly dying from microplastics. I'm just waiting to find out that our Wi-Fi signals and stuff are getting us all. I'm gonna turn into one of those crazy like blue. Put my gotta put my Wi-Fi when I go to sleep. I gotta put my router into a Faraday cage. No, dude, you can't. Tinfoil doesn't work. See, you have to get tinfoil. That's actually the answer. The reason everybody's still getting mind controlled is because they replaced all the tinfoil with aluminum foil, and aluminum foil hats don't work. You got to go out and find actual tinfoil if you want to protect yourself. Okay? Reynolds doesn't want you to know that. I'm sure you could still buy actual tinfoil. It probably has some use in something. But tin is pretty expensive. That's one of my favorite things to do is take a conspiracy theory and then, or when you talk to a conspiracy theory person, you have to like take their conspiracy theory and amp it up even higher so that you sound somehow even crazier than they do. But yeah, the square-based pyramid. Yeah, dude, like that's why you can't see over the horizon because you're actually seeing the like corner of the pyramid. That's what's on the back of the $1 bill, right? And the Egyptians, they actually knew, they knew what the shape of the world was, right? And the pyramids, that's the solar system. They've mapped it out. No, we landed on the moon. We actually did. We landed on the moon. But the moon landing, the video we saw, that was filmed because they didn't want to show us what was actually on the moon. We wanted to keep that secret. So all of the moon landing footage is faked. I'm gonna get like this video, you know, on YouTube they do the yeah, there's Transformers up there. You know, on the YouTube videos they do the like the little like notification things that are like the community notifications that are like, no, this is not like flat earth, blah 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 blah. Like I'm gonna have like 10 under this video, like don't. Oh, the great Aspendocleon. Yeah, dude, we're riding on the back of a space turtle right now, baby. It's all part of a secret government psyop. There used to be an AM radio show. I think you could still listen to it online, called Coast to Coast. A buddy of mine used to listen to that like all the time. He loved it. It was... This is also a dude who worked on the laser weapon systems on aircraft carriers, like the ones that shoot missiles out of the air. No, it's what it's the AI uprising. All right, the Roku's basilisk. Okay, is starting at the Taco Bell drive-thru. Okay, have you guys been to a Taco Bell recently? The drive-thru, the person who speaks to you at the drive-thru, is an AI voice. That's the real Skynet. All right. Freaking ordering tacos from ChatGPT at 2 in the morning. I'm done with this world. I don't want to be part of it anymore. I'm moving to Montana, guys. I'll see you later. I heard it sucks there. All right. I think we'll call it there for tonight.